everyone. I thought I will do this video for you in our tribe. Well, to start off with, I've hauled a friend who's behind the camera, and I'm not dressed in my usual suited and booted gear. It is windy, so the sun isn't even out. But hey, you know, sometimes we don't have everything we need in life. There's a zoo in the background as well, so if you hear some really caveman sounds, you know it's coming from there. And you'll hear birds as we go along. I'm out here in my home country of South Africa and just enjoying life on life's terms. So I thought I'd hop in straight away and do this video about the three things. Now this is an exercise that I do every year, and the reason I do it every year is because it is so powerful. Now in previous years I used to have one word that I used to set, that used to set the theme for the year, and I used to use that in every, from the days of my weeks to my months to my quarters, and I used to review that word as I went along. And then in recent years I thought to myself, well, the one word is not giving it the whole dimension for the year in my business and my personal world. So I created this concept of having 3 words for the year. Now why do you do this? Reason being, we need an anchor. We need an anchor, we need a theme, reflecting on the previous year, reflecting on the previous quarter. You think to yourself, what is it, what word is going to resonate that has the right energy to help me get through today, this week, this quarter, this year? Thinking back on what you've been through in the past. Now, as a brand new year, brand new quarter, and I wanted to share with you my 3 words. So I've been reflecting on recent times this past year, and I really thought about what 3 words would do it for me as we move forward in pursuit of our new goals, our hopes and our dreams, so we don't allow our dreams to just be dreams. So there are 3 words that I came up with, but before I go into that, I'm going to share with you 3 words that I had for last year and that they amended in the year. But my 3 words last year, and to show you the power of having this exercise at the start, is strategy, simplicity, and enough. Now why did I choose these 3 words? For me, strategy was so important. I have been cruising in my business and in my life for some time, which was working for me because I had strategies in the past, but I felt that I needed to regroup and have a strategy again. So I set a strategy for my business, I set a strategy for my personal world, and I tell you, life threw so many things at me, and I can tell you that if I didn't have a strategy, I would have come short and I would have fallen flat on my face. And interestingly, when we had the virus and all this pandemic and all that going on, having a rethink about, right, what is my new strategy, was something that really helped. My second word for last year was simplicity. Now I chose that word because I found that my life became pretty complicated. If I look at my personal world, became a bit messy. There was too many people involved, too many things, too many promises that I made, and too many people wanting my time, my energy, and I was finding that I never had much left for myself. And I tell you, just looking at that alone, that has been a game changer for me, where I've learned again to regroup, take time out. Like over here, I've taken this time out, beautiful place, nature. As you know, if you've been following me for a while, I absolutely love nature, and I encourage people in my tribe to hang out in nature and to use nature to regroup. It's such a wonderful tonic to regroup, reset, recharge, and refresh. So simplicity was a big deal for me, just stripping out all the fat in my life, stripping out the friends that didn't deserve a seat at my table anymore, stripping out all of that noise that did not matter, and thinking about your life as you're listening to my words. Think about what your words might be for you. The other word was enough that I had last year. I'd been through a time where I'd lost someone really close to me, and I've been putting up with a lot of bollocks. Now, you know, sometimes in our lives, as powerful, as strong as we are, as resilient as we are, one thing that I know that sabotages me is my empathy for others, my empathy for people's situations, and that allows me to be really brilliant in my work, in my career as a high performance coach. But when you have too much of any strength and too much of something, it really sabotages you. And I just felt, well, number one, the word enough was right, because I've had enough of myself, of putting up with things like this and sabotaging in that way, having too much empathy, too much kindness, that it had become a weakness for me. And we know that when you have a strength and you keep practicing it and you mastery at it, it does become a weakness. So that is something you must learn to trim. But just being enough. So when I give myself, when I give my time and give my energy, that is enough. So how about you? When is enough enough? So that was my words for last year, and that's what really helped me get the results that I got over the year. So as I reflected, certainly in recent weeks, I've really been reflecting on what are the 3 words that I want to have for the following year. So the first word is boundaries. Now this is something that I teach my clients, and I know very well myself, but again, where I sabotage myself with empathy, it's not been a good thing for me. So having boundaries is very important in your work. So for example, having a start time, having an end time. Now I know sometimes you can't always end on time and start on time, but you have to have your own personal boundaries around when do you start work and when do you end work. Otherwise you get to burnout. So boundaries for me in my working worlds, in my career, in our tribe, I have to have boundaries about making sure that I have my day planned and I don't allow others, including my own team sometimes, to encroach too much, too often on that. So making sure you know what your boundaries are. So that was that for me. My personal world, certain boundaries that you have, certain things that you will tolerate and certain things that you won't tolerate. So have a think about that, what that means for you. The second word that that resonates with me for sure going forward over the next 12 months is respect. So respect is something that I've found in recent times I've been disrespecting myself, disrespecting my boundaries, and therefore others do it too. So having respect for yourself and respecting your value that you bring to the table. So that is crucial, because if you don't respect yourself to a high standard, if you allow your disrespect to continue to go to, so respecting what you put into your mouth as an example. And I'm a big foodie, so I eat a variety of things, always have. But when I, for example, had the back accident, my spinal surgeon said to me to do the Pilates, and I was sort of doing it here and there. So I wasn't actually respecting my back as I should have, and what that caused was actually more pain in my life. And so now, having Pilates and doing my Pilates in the morning is something that I do about 5 times a week. Why? Because that is showing respect for my back that sort of holds it all together, having my own back. So respect was the second word. The third word is discipline. Now, as a person that went to a convent school in my life, discipline was really a bad word for me. I found discipline to be a negative word. But as I've been going on through life and noticing that word a bit more, discipline is actually a way to be free. Discipline gives you freedom, and discipline equals freedom. So again, having that discipline when I get up in the morning, onto my mat, do my Pilates, do my meditation, having the discipline to don't always overindulge on the food and the drink and everything else. So having that discipline in my work, to having my work plan for the day, which I have set. Monday to Friday I have a work plan, and then on the weekends I do whatever I want, or sometimes I would take a day off here and there, but having the discipline to do the things that you say you will. So in my case, every day I have the one thing that I must do, and I've been very disciplined about that. But there are other things in my work plan where I've allowed others to encroach on my time for the purpose of helping them, but then leaving myself. So what I've realized is that I got out of the discipline of keeping the main thing the main thing. So what do I mean by that? When you know what is the main priority in your life right now, so in your career, in your personal world, what are the main priorities in those two areas? It's very important to know what your main thing is and what your priority is, because then everything works together to achieve that. So for me, why I thought of the word discipline is because there's a few areas in my life that I've become too calm and too relaxed about when it comes to discipline. And so, as I mentioned earlier, one of them is the Pilates. Now I do that with discipline, and my body thanks me for it. You can always tell when you need help in certain areas, when your body's giving you pain, or your mind's starting to attack you, or starting to traumatize you, or starting to really get that message and signals across your mind, your body, your soul. And one of the other areas that I've been really brilliant about, but I want to take it up to the next level, is discipline around my day plan. So every single day I have a day plan of what is the one thing I'm going to do that day, and not want to do, must do that day without fail. Could be a little thing, could be a big thing, that's not the thing. The thing is that I know what my work plan is, I know what my priorities are, and I know what my main thing is. So knowing that, and then making sure that that plan that I've taken the time to create, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I work that plan, unless of course something comes in the way or some emergency. But we don't have emergencies all the time. It's about having the discipline to create that plan, which I love doing, and then working that plan despite the disruptions and despite the distractions. So discipline is my third word for this next 12 months. Now, the key here is, as you've been listening to me, I've actually shared with you 6 words that I've had over the last 24 months. As you've been listening, perhaps one of those words resonates with you. Sometimes, I've reached out to my team and said, right, I want you to come up with your 3 words. And one of the words of one of my team said, oh, I want the word calm. I was thinking, calm, what do you think, Niz? And when I remember that calm, I thought, no, it's not really calm, is it? It's so we said, oh, maybe peace is what you want. And that actually turned out to be boundaries for her. Why? Because she's constantly finding herself being pulled by the different family members in her life, and she's never saying no. And funny enough, after that meeting, as we were walking out the office, she'd been on her phone, and I said, oh, and she said, oh, family again. And I said to her, well, this is boundaries. We just said your word is boundaries. So having boundaries on that, your family are not going to change for that. They're still going to keep grabbing and wanting your time. But the thing is, it's up to you. So make sure that when you choose that word, it resonates and it just goes, yes, that's the word. Because you can imagine, I've come up with a whole series of words before I came up with those 3 words. So discipline, respect, and boundaries are my words for the next 12 months. How about you? What are your 3 words? I'd love to hear. So take some time to really sit and reflect with a pen and your notebook or your journal. What are the words? And have a brainstorm at first. And think about, what are the struggles, what are the highs, what are the lows, what actually happened for you? How are you feeling? What do you need? Think about that, reflect on it, and sleep on it, because you don't just come up with them like that. You got to just sleep on it, let it percolate in your brain, make it percolate just in your body, that sensation. What does that word do for you? So I'd love to hear your word. Please, your 3 words, please write back or share in the comments. I'd love to know what your 3 words are and why. I'll see you at the top.